Hello there and welcome to this, my film on Shamanic Art. When we work with art, the shaman approach is not to be drawing what's outside, but to draw what's inside. And so that's what I'm doing at the moment, just drawing what is inside. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do this. It's really helpful. If you've got some good quality art paper, it makes a world of difference. This is recycled cartridge paper, 120 GSM. Thicker paper means that when you press, the paper doesn't ruck up, and that is just so nice, because there's nothing worse than the paper not doing what you want it to do, like getting in the way. So the next thing is, it's good to have some good art materials. These are crayons, which come from a company which is called Stockmar, and the thing about these colours is they're all made from plant dyes. Same thing goes for these pencils, these are all made from plant dyes as well. Really nice to have materials that are good to work with. So the very next thing I'm going to do is, with my paper, I'm just going to choose a colour, and I'm not wanting to work with the pencils at the moment. So it's going to be back to the crayons. And what I do is I just grab one without thinking, and I put it on the paper, and I create whatever shape it is that comes up. And if I feel I want to repeat it, I do. And this is the way it begins. And with that one shape, again with as little thinking as possible, I just continue. Sometimes I want my colours to be very bold, sometimes I want them to be very subtle and gentle. It can be really nice to repeat a theme, which is what I'm doing here. I don't need to be bothered about what it is I'm drawing or why. All I need to do is to do it. And when I've done it, it may be quite clear to me what it's about, or it may not be. And yeah, the beauty about shamanic art is that doesn't matter either. The important thing is to allow the world within to be expressed onto paper with colours. And that is what I find so incredibly satisfying. So a little bit later I'll be taking you into my art room and showing you some of the art that I've done. And where appropriate I'll give you comments about what it's about, and where it isn't then I simply won't. And it's great to have the freedom to do this. Something about it feels so good. Quite often I find that the shapes as I draw has a relation to plants, and that doesn't surprise me at all, because I love plants very much. I derive great enjoyment from their existence, from growing them, eating them, smoking them. And the other thing you can probably notice as I'm doing this is I'm not particularly bothered about accuracy. This isn't going to win any awards, it's not designed to. It isn't necessary to please anybody else. Not looking for any approval or grades. These are the killers of art. Most of us have been exposed to school environments where we've actually had our work marked with a grade. For the true artist, this is a laughable mockery, because how can you give art a grade? It simply is what it is, and it's expressing whatever it is you need to express at the time. And sometimes I'll go to draw a shape, and then when I actually draw it I find it's quite a different shape from what I was intending. I didn't expect those there to be those vertical lines going up the way they did just then, but that's the way they come out to be. So my invitation to you is, if you're someone who doesn't ever do art, go get yourself some art materials and play. And just see what comes out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you into my art room. So this is the one I did straight after a nature's medicine retreat. I had such great satisfaction from drawing this, and feels it relates to all sorts of things for me. Community, the earth, but also the other worlds as well. This one is one that I did to show the different guides that I work with. So for example, this shape here relates to the green staff and the nanites, which are used for the energy body scan and repair by my guide called DL. This one over here relates to the golden eagle that works with me. This one over here relates to the plant medicine, and what you have is the two entwined serpents and the base pair sequences, which relates to DNA, which is very much part of it. This is a place where I take the client's soul part sometimes. It's the lagoon, and there are dolphins swimming in the bay there. And the central shape here relates to the soul parts being returned to the client. And these shapes, you can see the circles, the blue ones and the red ones. These relate to the forms in which my helpers first showed themselves to me in. And by way of total contrast, this one, I simply did it without having any thoughts about anything. Very much enjoyed it. To me, I just get the sensation of all the elements in play. And on the left hand side you see the plants, which reflects my love of plants. The water spilling down into the earth relates to my love of water, and the sunshine reminds me of my love of the sun and the warmth. Here's another one. I have absolutely no idea what's going on, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest. It was simply something I enjoyed making. I guess when I look at it now, it almost looks like the shape at the bottom is a person's head, and that's like the light flowing out of the person, connecting to the source. That's just what comes up for me right now. This one is a very specific piece, which is in praise and celebration of the plant called Salvia divinorum, and that art shape was very significant in my experiences with this plant. And so are the little shapes on the left hand side, those moon-like shapes. And the arrow refers to my experience with this plant of being drawn towards the right. This one I did first thing in the morning, straight after a very powerful dream. And this one to me is just about the earth, the planets going above it and everything else that's going on underneath that we're not necessarily aware of. This one was done for me. Very beautiful shape, and relates to manifestation, things becoming manifest. And this is another one which I did after a retreat, and reflects my love of plants and also my love of dancing. This is what I call a mandala, where you just start in the centre with a shape. In this case it was simply a yellow dot. And out of the yellow circle came these green feathery plant lines, which then produced the fruit on the end, and all enclosed in this shape. Just very satisfying to do any kind of a mandala. This one reflects the dynamic between, on the one hand, the very rectilinear shape on the left hand side, which I guess to me relates to the matrix and getting lost in devices. And drawing out of that, the first thing I'm aware of is nature, and I very much wanted the fire there, and I wanted the sun. And then the words came up afterwards. So I guess freedom from fear for me is the love of nature. Here's a typical work I've done which is very strongly influenced by plants. For me, this one is all about the cornucopia, that mythological horn of plenty out of which many wonderful things arise, and so for me it's the plants coming out of the horn that's significant. This one for me relates to the all-seeing eye, and out of the eye coming all manifestation. And we actually go into the shape of the eye behind the sun itself. There's like a gentle landscape. This one reflects my love of vortexes. Again, I would have started this image with simply the blue dot in the centre, and it all came out from that. So I have above the blue vortex into which the negative energies are released, and over on the left there we have the green vortex out of which all these shapes come, which represent the spirits of all the planets, which also work doing the healing with the client. This one reflects my love of the tropics, of warm sunny places, of islands. This one would have begun just by doing a red dot, out of which came this. So this one's clearly got a cityscape on the left and the sea on the right. Other shapes which I have absolutely no idea what they're about, but very satisfying to draw. This one's a completely different form of art where I was deliberately wanting to express something. So to me this relates to the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, and the twin serpents, the vibrant multicoloured serpent and the dark serpent. So the light and the dark, the left and the right hemisphere of the brain, and this also relates to DNA. There's an image of the T2 bacteriophage, which is a virus, which just shows its structure, shows the DNA. That's the silver and gold twisted double helix in the middle, and the protein coat, which is its structure. This one represents the serpent image, which is often seen amongst those that consume plant medicines. And the significant thing is that the single snake is bifurcated at the head to produce a double-headed snake. And this exactly relates to this, which is DNA, and that shows you the base pair sequences and the two strands. And again, you see the way the DNA is opened up at the right end of the picture. And this is what we call the transcription process, when DNA information gets transcribed onto the RNA, which then enables anything that needs to be built inside the cell to be coded for. Something else I like to do if I'm studying a new system, I like to actually draw it all out so I can see it. And this is the medicine wheel, which is used by some shamanic practitioners, and you get the directions, season of the year, times of the day, emotional quality, it's all in there. So not only satisfying to produce, but helpful to actually get an understanding of something.
And what's coming up now whilst I'm doing this drawing are some images of the use of art in healing. And this was the result of doing some very powerful healing work with Kerry on the sand play, and that produced these two images. And the first one is very much me right in the centre of the picture, being engulfed by the wave of the new energy, which is exactly what was going on at that particular time. So this moves into the second image, which shows me further deeper in the healing process, and there I am right in the centre of the image, and what I've got is I've got the energy of the plants and the earth coming from below, and from above I've got the energy of the heaven, the cosmos, and the helpers that work with me in the healing, and me literally right in the centre of the two receiving the healing. And what follows is a series of time-lapse photographs of the work emerging.
So to conclude about this session on art and art that I do, this is another way we can work as shamanic practitioners, is rather than painting onto paper or canvas, we can paint onto stones. And this was a particular shamanic process which I did, and you can see the film that goes into this in detail from a while ago when I was in Derbyshire. And this stone has, first of all, this face, which was when I became aware of the darkness in the past experiences which I had, and that's shown by the red with the black lines coming into it, literally representing the dark through the trauma. And what I discovered was when I was painting on this stone, as I did in this face, I automatically had this inclination to do something very different on the other face. And so I did, and this is what I did. And so again, you've got the echo of the darkness. You see the black, which is what intrudes over onto that side. But what you've got in the centre of this particular image is you've got the keyhole. And when we look through the keyhole, we can see the hills and we can see the sky with the stars. That's what I was attempting to represent here. And again, I made this point before, but let me make it again. The beautiful thing about this kind of artwork is it doesn't matter. There's no exams to pass. There's no one to impress or to improve on. It's simply a matter of you making use of art for your benefit, your enjoyment, your pleasure, and your understanding and growth. So with this one, it reminded me that all the dark experiences I've been through in my life are literally keyholes, which enables me to enter into the new world, which is beautiful. So that's this one. Now here's another one. I got great enjoyment from doing this one. And this one is explained in more detail in the film I spoke about earlier. And then the other one, which I very much enjoyed doing in the same series, was this one. And this was just the pleasure and enjoyment of creating a green and a blue vortex on a stone. And I have great pleasure to show you a piece of artwork which was done for me during my training by one of the people that I was working with in Parnas. And this is this side of this particular one. And this was a beautiful piece of work because what we were all asked to do, very close towards the end of our training, is we were asked to take a stone and to paint the stone for our partner we were working with for the qualities that would actually help them in their lives. And this one I see is like an egg, and when you turn it over, you can see the gift that she was giving me, the quality that she was intending for me to have more of in my life. And this is definitely one of my prized possessions. I love this stone. And thank you very much indeed, Jackie. I don't forget you. Cheers. So to paint on stones, obviously what you need is a stone, and best place to go for these are rivers and by the sea on the pebbly beach. And I recommend you use acrylic paints. They are the most easily suitable to work with. And literally all you do is you get your paint and put it into some kind of a container. Don't bother to dilute it at all. Just use it neat. And off you go. It really is simple as that. Something profoundly satisfying about painting on a stone. So I wish you all the best with your artwork. May you enjoy it. That's the most important thing. And thank you.
Moro lai arti, mor shirio grim, no still